Here we are. Good morning, everyone. Let me know if you hear me. You should. And we can start today's class. Also, sometimes if you see me rotating from this side, is because I have another screen here, and I will be able to read your messages. Okay. Let me know if you are there. Vanessa, ciao. Saiba, ciao. Great. Okay. So let me see. First of all, first simple thing that we have to do is I need to show you that I have created a Google Drive folder for you, and I will share the link right now so that you can use it in order to upload your homeworks. So it is Monday, this folder here. I'm copying the link right now, and okay, let me see. Okay, I'm just copying the link so that you can actually enter. Okay. Okay, let me see. Public, yes. Copy. Perfect. Okay, let me check if I send you this link here that I'm placing into the chat. Be so nice to try it and to see if you can click on that link and if you are able to upload your files. Okay, I'm watching, then I will move this screen somewhere else. Let me know as fast as you can if it works, so that I can't. Oh, let me check why. Because I did it. I'll try again. So check the make a link. Give me 3 seconds. So that I will create another. Okay. Link. Okay. Can you do it now? Let me know. Let me check. I'm not able. No permission. Yes, it works. Oh, this is interesting. How this is possible? Some say yes, some say no. Let me. I'm pasted it again. Try now. I'm checking your your chat in a screen here? Someone say no. Still, wait. Let me do it again into another way. So, 1 second, I will bring the drive here. So you say, let me see. Okay. Okay. Try now, because it looks like it is a public folder, so it looks like it should work. I will copy again the link and I will put it again into the chat. That is somewhere there. Try now. Because it looks like everything is fine, so it should work. No, I don't trust you. Let me see if it is true. So let's open just whatever folder here. Oh, it's true, it doesn't work. No way. Okay, give me 3 seconds more. So let's make a new folder. 3ds Monday 9 to 11 homeworks. Great. It is here. Then okay. 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 Let's see. It is public. Everyone can change it. Copy. Go back to the chat. Go back to the chat. Where is the chat? Chat is here. Trust us. I'm not that sure. See this one. Check this one now. Come on, this will work. I know for sure. No. You know what? If it doesn't work, I will just paste it. Or just give up. Okay, folder is empty. Okay, Then, no, come on. No, I'm giving up, really, because share. Okay. Share. I mean, now or never. Try now. I'm testing myself too. Finally! Now you can complain. I can do it, you should be able to do it. Oh, phew! At the end, this has been one of the most complex things I've ever done in my life, probably. And let me fix also one thing in here. Okay. Perfect. So now, no. This should be as it was before. I will move it myself instead. Let me check. Let me check my camera. Perfect. Okay. So everything should be fine. We should be ready. And the only thing that I don't like is that small corner in the stream that is very annoying. And it was covering. Oh, here I am, finally. So what we have to see today? Today we have to talk about one extremely interesting but complex as well topic in 3ds Max. That is something called Editable Poly. Editable Poly is basically is most powerful way to 3D model objects in 3ds Max. And there are, first of all, two slightly different ways to obtain editable polys in 3ds Max. They have something, some positive aspects and some negative aspects. And so sometimes I will use one, sometimes I will use the other. And first of all, we need to start by setting one extremely helpful thing in our viewport. That is this. Look here. If I make a box, let's say, and I want to work with vertexes or edges of this box, there is a small problem in general when you start using 3ds Max. This small problem is simply this. You can see that all of your objects are just bright blue. And I want to show you one way to understand a little bit better how your objects, how your 3D objects are made in reality by doing this simple adjustment. That is, when you, and especially when you want to work with Editable Poly, you should enable this particular option by going with your left button over this part of the interface that is called default shading. You should left click here and you should simply check the option that is called edged faces. Why this? When you click edged faces, what happens is simply this. You will see that you don't see only your blue surfaces, but you have also a better understanding of where edges and vertices of your objects are. And I want to show you another interesting example, because now if I draw something round like a sphere, this is how the sphere will look like by having that simple adjustment turned on that is called edged faces. So just to show you again the difference, if you click in the very last option here that we see written into the viewport and we uncheck edged faces, this is how normally 3ds Max looks like. That is just surfaces. In general, they are always bright blue, and that's it. But let me show you this. If I select my sphere and I increase or decrease the segments, you don't see anything special. The sphere is still looking like a sphere. While if you go to default shading and you click edged faces, look how important is this now, because if I change number of segments, if I decrease them or increase them, I don't have simply to guess where segments are, where vertices of my objects are, but I can see them. This is also a parameter that affects only your display, so only your viewport. When you will make renders, when you will see instead your 3D projects, you will never see this kind of cage on your object, but this is an interesting and very helpful parameter that we have to set before going to work with Editable Poly. That is, something very simple, but extremely useful. Let's see another interesting thing now. So, how to make our objects becoming editable poly. There are two ways, as I said at the beginning of this lesson. Way number one is whenever we have a three-dimensional object, no matter which object is, can be a solid, can be a pro-boolean, can be, whatever 3D object can be turned into a editable poly by selecting the object, using right button of your mouse, so I right click on it, and if I go down, I can see the option called Convert to, and I need to be very careful here, because in here, when I click Convert to, Editable Poly is my second option, and it will really makes the difference if you click the wrong conversion option here. So you should click Convert to and then click Convert to Editable Poly. This is way number one. Now my sphere is not more a sphere, a parametric sphere, but it is an object that, as you may notice, if you click here, look, but if you go in this area, let me check. So this is, if you now click here, look, now I will delete it, but if you make it here, This one. Exactly. You will notice now that my sphere has not more radius, has not more segments, and so on and so on, while it has these 5 weird symbols appearing. And to be fair, they shouldn't be as weird or like you have never seen something like this, because they remind the symbols that we have seen when we have talked about Editable Spline. So, believe it or not, what we have here is this. First symbol, the one that has 3 dots, this one means vertex. So what is interesting is that if I click this button, you will see that in my editable poly all vertices will be highlighted in blue, and what I can actually do is I can now select not the entire sphere but I can select vertices of my sphere. Why I need to do this? Simply because, and this is just the beginning, for example, I can click move and I will be able to move these vertices. Okay? I can select just one vertex and I can move it like this. I can select this vertex and I can move it wherever I want. Okay? And this is just very first button that we are clicking. We are clicking vertex. So also let me move this toolbar here. Exactly. So what is then my second button? That is very simple. Second button is something that is called edge. So instead of working with vertices of my object, I can select, let me see that my screen here is gone. I don't know why. And let me have my chat back. Give me 1 second. Okay. I'm back. 1 second. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Well, I just need to see if I can read the chat because the link is gone. Okay. I would like to Oh, finally. Sorry, but I couldn't see anymore my screen. Perfect. Okay, I'm back. So I was saying this. I will keep it here. So My second button here instead is Edge, and when I click it, I can see that I can select now edges of my object, and I will start by discovering that I can move them. I can also select more than one edge and move them all. But also, when you select edges, you are able to rotate them and scale them, while this is not possible with vertices. Another interesting thing is there is a third selection object method into Editable Poly. This is called border, and for this week we will probably skip borders. This is why Editable Poly is something that is pretty complex. So I don't want to explain the all possibilities of editable polys in one lesson only. So we will spend this and next week talking about editable poly. And this is first. So for today, we will explore mainly Vertex. That is first editing mode. We will select Edge. We will skip this selection mode that is called border, and we will focus a lot instead our explanation on this fourth method of interacting with the editable poly, that is by using polygons. And a polygon basically is a face of our object that is closed inside a loop of edges. So all of these tiny elements that we clearly see inside these white visible edges, all of these are polygons. And at the beginning, as you may see, we are not only able to move them, but if we select polygons, again, we will be able to rotate or scale polygons. But before exploring editable poly in depth, I said at the beginning that there are two ways to turn an object into editable poly. So first is by using right-click, convert to editable poly. But technically there is another way to make this happening. There is a modifier, because let's say I select this second object. This is a box right now, and instead of right-click on this object and using the option called convert to editable poly, see what I can do. I can select my box, I can go to the Modify tab, and if I open Modifier list here, you will find in between all my available modifiers here, you will find a modifier that is called Edit Poly. So what this does is simply, this is a modifier that you can apply on your box, and especially for very first weeks that you will use editable poly, this will be a great solution to use edit poly features simply because by being a modifier, see what happens. At the very first look, they are exactly the same, but technically there are very, very small differences that we will cover one day, especially when we will talk about materials. But why this is a lot better, even if it is less common in using Editable Poly? Using Edit Poly as a modifier allow you to have the possibility to go back to your original object. What it means? It simply means this. Let's say I select one vertex and I start messing this vertex. But then I select another vertex and I mess this one. Then I select another vertex and I keep modifying my object. And basically, by using Edit Poly modifier, I can sculpt this object. No? I can select a polygon maybe, and I can start rotating this polygon. Like this, something like super weird. So why it is so interesting to use Edit Poly as a modifier? Simply because if, and I have to close, like Editable Spline, I have to open and close editing modes. But using Edit Poly as a modifier is so interesting because if I discover that I have made mistakes, that I don't like the result that I see, what I have to do is simply I select the modifier from this area, and by deleting the modifier, so by selecting the modifier and by clicking this recycle bin symbol, I just remove the modifier, but I don't lose my original box. So if I want to try something, but I don't want to make adjustments, there will last then in my object. And if I change my mind like this, look. Now, look at the sphere. Can you see that the sphere is completely messed up? Technically, there is no way to make the sphere becoming again a round, perfect ball, because this object is an object that has been converted to an editable poly. So technically I should do something that is impossible. That is, I should move again all my vertices, all my polygons in their original position, and this, let me tell you, it is quite impossible. So, even if, especially when you see maybe other YouTube tutorials and stuff like this, you see a lot of time people using right-click convert to editable poly, my personal suggestion is, especially because you're starting using 3ds Max now, don't follow that method, but use instead the modifier that is called Edit Poly to have editable poly features in your geometries. And this is first. Second thing that we need to understand is we have studied, so I apply Edit Poly again, and I was saying this. We have studied something that is pretty similar to Edit Poly or Editable Poly in general. We have studied something called Editable Spline. And if you think for a second, you may remember that we have used Editable Spline not just to move vertexes just to scale a segment, and so on and so on. But we have studied Editable Spline in order to have access to a lot of features that will allow us to change shapes. Same exact concept is the reason why we study Edit Poly. So we study Edit Poly mainly because if we select vertex or we select segment, or today we will see we select polygon, we don't do this just to move them, just to transform them, but we also make these because if we scroll down the menu of our Edit Poly, we will discover that by clicking vertex and by scrolling down, we will discover that there will be a lot of features listed here. And same thing, if we click segments and we scroll down, look, there are even more features listed there. And we can see that there are plenty of buttons that we may want to study. And what is even more interesting is that if we select polygons, there is this symbol here. By scrolling down through this Max menu, believe it or not, we will discover that there are billions of tools that we may need to study. And of course, not them all are so important, but there are at least all of these. And because they are a lot, and each of these tool makes something that is quite useful, instead of explaining them all today, I will divide them, and I will start by showing today those that are a lot more important, and I will continue next week by explaining those that are a little bit more tricky, not unuseful, but a little bit more tricky to be used. So today I will make a simple selection of tools that we are going to study. That will be this. We will, and I will just write them here so that if you want to take notes, this will help you. But I want to show you these tools today that are wait a second. We will see into Edge edit mode. I want to show you one tool for today, and this, so into Edge I will show you only one button that is called divide, and this is first. Then we will focus our explanation into mainly tools that are available when we click Polygon, And inside Polygon, the list of tools that we will see today will be a little bit longer because I want to show you inside Polygon something that is called Extrude. Then I need to show you something that is called Inset. And then another tool that is called Bridge. Last but not least, we will see that in general, I want to show you a tool that doesn't require any particular sub-selection, but is a tool that works just because we have applied Edit Poly. There is a generic tool that is called Cut. Okay, so after making these graffitis into the screen, okay, so let's go back to our 3ds Max. And first tool that I want to show you is in Edge Edit mode. So I select my object, I have applied Edit Poly, and from this list I select Edge Editing mode. So I click this one. And by selecting these, then I will scroll down my menu and then I find, oops, sorry, my bad. It's not called divide. Oh, what a mistake. But it is called connect. So sorry. It is connect. And let me show you how it works. Connect. Come on, Marco. Connect, not divide. So, first of all, we need to see this. If you take a look at this tool, you may notice that it has a button, but most important, next to the name of the button connect, there is this small square. Okay? Believe it or not, whenever a tool has the possibility to be clicked by using this square, this is exactly what we have to click. That small square, so again, let me put a reminder here. Exactly. This small square next to whatever tool in Edit Poly is called Settings. And it gives us the possibility to have more specific control in how we use that particular tool. And this is extremely important because if not, it looks like Edit Poly has some major limits. So let's see what Connect does by clicking Settings here. I click Settings and I see this floating menu appearing. So what I have to do now is simply I have to select two edges, and let's say I select this, that is this top edge here, and then by holding Control I select this lower edge. What happens is, by selecting up upper and lower edge, you can notice that 3ds Max is trying to connect my two selected edges by creating this single new edge. Okay? This is happening simply because right now, take a look at what is written here. Inside the settings of my connect tool, it is written 1. So what it does basically is this. Look, let me make a simple sketch in here. If I am selecting one edge, that is this, and another edge, that is this, simply because I am using one edge into my parameters, 3ds Max will connect these two selected edges by creating one new segment only. What I can do is, for example, instead of 1 in this menu, you can move your mouse and you can increase this. And now I will have 2 or 3 or 4. And see this. Now, if I select 4 new edges, basically 3ds Max will connect my two selected starting edges by creating 4 new edges. And what is great is none of these steps is already made because I have my settings open. So I can change these as many times that I want. These adjustments will really become fixed in my geometry simply when I will click below settings, I will click this check sign. But if I don't like the result, I can still press this X button instead to cancel the operation. So I will click OK to show you what we have done. So now in my box and only in this face we have 4 segments more. We have connected 2 segments, so we have basically created new segments in between them. What is also interesting is that when you use connect, you are not limited in selecting 2 edges at the same time. So look, I will select now, and I will zoom in just to make it more visible. I will select these, then I press Ctrl. I select this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and also this one that is into another face. So my selected edges are not even, it's called coplanar. But now let's see if connect works. So I click settings next to connect, and first of all I can see that connect uses previous settings that I have used before. So it starts by creating 4 new segments simply because this is last number that I've written before. But I can, number 1, change these if I need more or if I need less. Then I want you to see these other 2 available settings, because connect has not only number of segments as interesting parameter. There are two other parameters that are called slide and pinch. What it means? First of all, you may notice that both parameters start by being 0. And what is happening right now is that according to the length of segments that I have selected, all my new edges, they are perfectly equally spaced. And they are also centered into the length of all my segments. With slide and pinch, I can instead shift the position of my new vertices, as well as compressing or doing the opposite operation. So look, second parameter, the one that is called pinch, allows me to do this. Instead of being equally spaced from the beginning till the end, if I increase pinch, I will expand the distance that is in between my new segments. If I decrease pinch instead, I will make the distance in between all my segments a lot smaller. And this is pinch. But also you can still see that because third parameter that is called slide is 0, no matter how I adjust the distance in between my edges, they remain perfectly centered in the middle of my starting edges. But with slide, that is this last parameter, I can move automatically all my new edges up and down like this. I can use this down, I can move this up, and according to where and how I need my new edges, I can combine all these three settings. So number of vertex, pinch and slide, and only when I will click OK, I will really create these new edges inside my polygon. Okay? First of all, let me see if chat works. Give me a feedback. Tell me yes, no, maybe, probably. Write me something so that I can see. Now I've moved the chat down here. Let me see if, first of all, if the chat works, because I don't see any message. Oh, thank you so much. So, if I want, let's see, if I want to move one segment instead of all, first of all, understand, no problems. Yes. So basically, what we have done is this. Now we have these new edges that are placed here. So what we can do next is, let's say we need just to move this lower chain of connected edges. Let's say we want to move it a little bit below, but just that. No problems, because without any particular active tool in our Edit Poly, just by selecting this edge and then by pressing Ctrl on the keyboard, I click this, and this small piece, so that I select the entire chain of my connected segments. For example, now I can just use move up here, and after creating my edges, I can do whatever I want. Into the specific, I will move only this segment down. But also, I can do the same thing even by skipping. So I can select, and by selecting these, I'm always holding Control. So I click my first small piece of segment, then I press Control and click, Control, click, and for example, I can move just these, and you can see that these won't be moved, but it will be stretched. Okay? Or I can simply do this, or do that, so that maybe I start by getting these shapes. I start getting these shapes, and then I can even move them like these. Okay, but once that you click OK and you have created new edges, you can transform them as you please. So we can also select them all. Maybe I will place them inside like these. Okay, can select these top edges, I can move them back like this, and I start by modeling my box in a completely free way. Okay? Let me show you just, I can't resist, I need to show you this example. And this would be shocking. This will leave you speechless. One more question. Can we join or group them? Can we join them or group them so that we don't keep selecting little piece? Technically answer is yes, but it's pretty complex, and I can show you easiest way to do what your classmate asked. That is, not impossible, but it's a little bit technical. So let me show you one example first, and then I will show you, I will give the answer to your classmate. So see this first. First of all, look at this box. Just to show you an example of what you could easily do just by using connect. So I can select my box. I will apply Edit Poly modifier. I then click Edge, and I select this edge, control this edge. So just the two top edges. Now I click Connect, and I click Settings next to Connect. And I need, for this new object, I just need one new edge that will be also perfectly in the center. So I just leave these options as they are, and I click OK. Now what I can easily do is I simply select this new edge that I have created and I lift this edge up. So I just move it up and boom! Believe it or not, in 3 seconds you have made the house of your homework number 1. Do you remember very first homework? The house, the cylinder, the 3 segments, rotate it, put it on top, and so on and so on. This is a not right, not wrong, but just a completely different approach in doing same exact thing. Fantastic, isn't it? I know, it's too cool to be true. So, let's answer now to your classmate that asked if there is a way to group small pieces inside the editable poly. And of course, there is a way to do this. It is handy sometimes. And what you have to see is this. So let me simply delete my box and let me go back to this object, simply because it has a lot of pre-made edges. Okay, so let's see this. If I need to, and this is not only for edges, this is valid for whatever object you need to keep selected. So like this, look, let's say I select vertices and I need to select one vertex, then skip another vertex. So with Control I select, skip, and then select and skip, and then select and then skip. So if I try to make these, and this will be something that requires a lot of times, and it is a shame that when I deselect everything, my selection is actually lost because I've selected all these vertices. In reality, in 3ds Max, you can use this particular tool that is called Selection Set. So you can't really group them, but what you can do is this. You select your vertices or your edges or your polygons once, and you are pretty careful to select only those that you need. Then on the top bar, the one that is called the menu bar, can you see a menu that is called Create Selection Set? Look, it is this one. The answer should be yes, Marco. We can see it. So what we have to do now is simply, we have our vertices selected. We go inside Create Selection Set, so we left click there, and we simply type wait a second, your cam is not moving. No, my cam is not moving. Why? Wait a second. Wait a second. Let me see what I can do. Does it work now? Let me see if it works. Not working. The audio and the screen is still working. So just my beautiful face that you can see. Let me check. So I'm frozen, yes, like the princess. Okay. Give me a second. I will. No. Let's see again. Now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, test. Let me check. I shake my hand just to see if I'm live or not. Yes, I'm back. Yay. So, oh my gosh, this shouldn't happen. Just right in the middle of something very complex. So, let's see. What I was doing was this. Look, I have selected a bunch of stuff, and because I don't want to select each time all these objects, what I do is this. I select all my vertices. Then I click inside Create Selection Set up here, and I simply type a name that I want to give to my selection. So let's say I call it test and I press enter. Look what happens now. If I select other things, and let's say I move these other vertices. If I want to select again all those precise vertices that I selected before and that I have called test, you will discover something fantastic. That is, if now I go to selection set and instead of clicking inside, I click the tiny triangle that is into my selection set menu, I will see that there is a selection set that is called test. So if I click it, boom, you will see that you have back your very complex selection. So again, I select something else, I move these, I move these, I move that, I move whatever I want to do. Then I click the triangle, I select the set that is called test, and bim, bada boom, and I have them immediately selected. And this will remain there. So whenever I want, I can also close, do other steps, and then whenever I need, I can click over and over to my selection called test. And also I can make more selection sets. I can create as many sets that I need. And this is about edges. Let me show you now at least 3 simple tools inside Polygon editing mode. But to do this, let me delete this horrible thing that we have a screen now, because this is just too messed up and we won't really understand steps that we need to do. So I will simply make a new box. And by the way, I'm making boxes only because they start by having less polygons, but you can really apply Edit Poly to whatever has 3 dimensions. And let's see these 3 tools. So I go to Modify tab with my box selected. I click Edit Poly. And now I want to show you 3 tools that are into Polygon editing mode. So in order to enable them, I have to click Polygon first. That is this selection here. So now I can select all these faces of my box. And I want to show you 3 simple tools. So I select Polygons and I will scroll down a little bit this menu, and I want to show you 3 tools that are called Extrude, Inset and Bridge. And they are, let me highlight them, they are these tools here: Extrude, Inset and Bridge. Not only I just want to show these 3 tools, but to be extremely precise, you need to see that all these 3 buttons have next to them that small square that I have seen before into Connect that is called Settings. So we will use this, and this button in order to use Extrude, Inset and Bridge. Okay? So they will work in this way. That is, when I click at least one polygon and then I click extrude, and again I click settings next to extrude, this is what I have. I have two parameters. One is this, that is the amount of extrusion, and another parameter is this, that is the direction. But we will see direction in a second, because direction of the extrusion it is important only when we select more than one polygon at the same time. If not, it doesn't change really anything. But first and most important is this parameter here, that is the amount. So if we select at least one polygon and then inside this menu we left click and drag up or left click and drag down, we will see that extruding a polygon means this. It is not moved, but starting from its original position, we have extruded only that part of the object. And the more polygons our object has, the more polygons we can extrude. So, just to keep extruding, look, I can select this top, I click yes, I can select this top polygon, again, click settings next to extrude, and now I can extrude this small polygon up. And you will see that it has created a new part of my object. So I am adding volume to my object. So I can select now this, click settings, click extrude, increase or decrease the amount, click OK. Okay. What is also interesting is that Extrude is a tool that works with a positive value, and if you use positive amount, the direction of the extrusion will go outside of your object, but you can also use negative values for the amount, and extrusion will go inside your object. So if I select this polygon and I click settings next to extrude, but if instead of using a positive value I use a negative, you will see that the extrusion will go inside. For example, now I can just to see it better, I can scale this polygon, and this is my result. Okay, that I have extruded inside, so I have basically pushed the polygon inside the object, and then I have also scaled it, but scale it is just to see it better, it's not really important. Okay, extrude has some slightly different behaviors when, instead of extruding one polygon only, when you select more than one polygon. And this is when we need to start studying also this second parameter, that is extrusion by, is called. That basically means understanding the direction of extrusion. So, see this. By default, this parameter is set by being extrude by group. So, what what this does is, if I select two polygons that are on the same face, they are extruded normally, and extruding by group works in this way. If they are attached polygons at the beginning, when I extrude them, they are also attached extruded polygons. But sometimes this is not the result that we want, and when, look here the difference. If instead of selecting polygons that are on the same plane, I select polygons that I have different directions, I select this, and Control, I select this, and maybe even the top one, you may notice now that extrusion is finding the average direction in between all my selected polygons. So when I click extrude and I keep the option by group, you will see that extrude will go in this weird direction. So especially when I don't need to use whenever I need to use polygons that are on different planes, instead of clicking group, that is this option here, maybe I need to click local normal, and this is what happens. It happens that my polygons are extruded along its original direction, but because they are attached together at the beginning, they are also attached together when they are extruded. Third option is called by polygon, and in this case, no matter which polygon I select, by using the option by polygon, all polygons will be extruded independently, like I'm using 3 times extrude. Extrude for the top, extrude from the front, extrude for the left one. Okay? This is the difference in between, but in order to give you an example of using different methods, see this. Look. See the big difference in using extruding by group, extruding by local normal, and extruding by polygon. And I will do this by making a sphere. And see this, because I mean this will probably shock you. Look, I make shift and move so that I start, but I make copy, so that I start by having exactly same 3 spheres. I'm using copies because if I apply Edit Poly and I use instances, I apply Edit Poly to one, and all my instances will have same adjustments, so doesn't make any sense. So what I will do is this. Look, I select one, I apply Edit Poly, and in what I select is I select polygons, and I select all these polygons. With Alt, I deselect these, but with Control, I want to select those. This is why. Simply because I'm selecting two horizontal rows of polygons that are exactly the center of my sphere. Okay? So see this incredible difference in between using by group, by local normal, by polygon. In this one, I will use Extrude, so I click Settings, and I keep my default option that is always by group. So I will have this weird result. All my polygons are extruded up. Example number 1. So I close Edit Poly, select my second sphere, I select exactly same polygons, so I first apply Edit Poly. I click Polygons, and I click this. Let me see. Control this. Perfect. So I've selected the center part of my sphere. Now, if I click Extrude, and instead of group, I select my second option, that is local, see this big difference, because they are all connected together. I click local, I extrude, and what I get is this. Okay? We have almost done. Just to show you the difference, I repeat same exact step in this last sphere. So I select the sphere, I apply Edit Poly, I click Polygon, and again I select exactly same. This works at the first time. I select exactly same starting polygons. Now, if I click third option of Extrude, that is called Extrude by Polygon, when I will extrude, see the result. Fantastic, isn't it? So, as you may see, and let's see if I can write here quickly. So, this is by group, yes. This is by local. This is extruding by polygon. Okay? And you can clearly see that even if tool is 1, just by using one of these 3 options, you can see that the result is completely different. And again, there is not right or wrong, but there is simply the result that you need to obtain at the end of your adjustment. Okay? Ready to see last 2 quick tools? Yes? Let's see. I check the chat. Let's pretend that the answer is yes. So, thank you for the feedback. So, let's delete these. And let me show you what is a very simple tool that is called Inset. Inset takes 3 seconds because the only thing the Inset does is it creates an offset of your polygons. So, look, if I select let's say I select this polygon here. Again, I start with 1, then I will show you with more polygons. I select that polygon, then I select Inset, that is here, but again, and then I don't want to repeat this anymore. I select Inset, but I select Settings next to Inset. Inset has a value, and if you increase it, what you will see in your polygon will be simply an offset like this. Okay? And believe it or not, Inset does just this particular step. But what is really interesting into Inset is simply that Inset works with groups or single polygons like Extrude. What it means? If instead of using one polygon only, look, if I select this, all these polygons, see this difference? I click Inset, and all my selected polygons are treated like one selection by default, and you will see that you will make the inset of the entire selection. Again, this is because first option is always set as inset by group. But if I need, look, I make this selection, I click Inset, and instead of by group, I can also click and select Inset by polygon. So each polygon will be offset as independent geometry. Okay? Ready for this? Because I will make you an example now that will leave you speechless, or to be more precise, it will leave you chatless, because we can speak. See this, because this would be fantastic. In general, Inset is like best friend of Extrude, and let me show you why. See this example, this would be unbelievable, look. But I make a box, and I will show you the combination of 3 tools used together, that is Connect, Inset, and Extrude. Look, I apply Edit Poly, and I need, look, I will first make a sketch. I need to create 1, 2, 3, 4 new segments only in that particular face of the box. So I click Edit Poly, I select edges, and I select this vertical edge, control this other vertical edge. Then I scroll down and I find the first tool that we've seen inside Edit Poly. That is, I click Connect. Instead of 1, I said I forgot 4. I click 4 so that I create all these new edges, and I click OK. So now I have divided only this face by having 5 smaller polygons. Ready for this? Look. I select Polygons. I select with Control. I select these 5 polygons and I click Inset. But to be precise, I make Inset by Polygon. And I increase a little bit my Inset parameter, so just like this. And I click OK. Now I simply select 1, Control, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I select only those offset polygons that I have created by using Inset. And at this point, I can click Settings next to Extrude. But as I said when I was explaining Extrude, if I click Extrude and I go positive, polygons will go outside my shape, while I want to use Extrude, but I want to make negative amount, so my extrusion will go inside, and I click OK, and bim, bada boom, I have made a phenomenal bookshelf in a second. Okay? See? Yes? No? Maybe? So now, fantastic. So now, let me see in these last few seconds what I can give you as a homework. I would like to give you something not that hard, and then next week I will give you something too complex. By using these simple tools, yes, I need to change a little bit my homeworks, but let me see if we can do something. I'm looking for a simple chair. Oh, exactly. Okay, now I will save this picture, and also I will save 3 pictures on the Google Drive, where you can find homeworks. Okay, and your homework will simply be this, without having tutorials, but by using tools that we have seen today and last week. So by using Edit Poly, at least the beginning of Edit Poly. And by using Pro Boolean, you will be able to, let's see where I can save them, into the desktop, make a new folder. Let's call this homework 6. Okay, you can do this, you can do this, and I've seen another one. Ah, come on, you can do this chair. Perfect. Fantastic. Now, let's see if everything works as it should. Because if I go to 3ds1, homework 6. Oh, wait. No, I forgot. There are already chairs ready to be made and a stool. So let's quickly vote. The things are very simple. What you want to do, those 3 chairs that I have showed you a second ago, or you want to do these 2 chairs? There are, one is the Rietveld chair, and then this stool here, or these 2 or those 3. Let's vote. Vote for 3 chairs, vote for 2 chairs. You have a couple of seconds to choose. These 2. Those 3. Oh my gosh, some more votes because democracy have to win. Another vote for the 3. 2. We are even. 2. So 2 chairs are winning. Oh, a lot of votes. Oh my gosh, there is. No, I think 2 chairs are winning. 3. No, don't make me count them. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for the 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All 5. Right. All 5 wins. So look here. All 5 wins. This is what I like. I will put all these 5 chairs into the same folder. So just to give you a lot of freedom, you can choose between 2 of them. Okay, so just to give you also a last information, just choose 2 of those. Oops, there should be an H here. Okay, not all 5, just choose 2 of those chairs, make them inside same file so that you will upload your file. There will be just one file and not two files for each one. Okay, so 2 chairs, 1 file. Is it fine? Yes, you were voting for other people. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. You were voting because you were lazy. Okay? So, perfect, exactly. This is all for today. This video will remain at least for 24 hours, maybe more, into the channel, so you can watch it and watch it as many times that you want. I shouldn't tell you, but maybe you can also record with your phone, record parts, or download it if you know how to do it, so that you can watch it over and over. Okay? And with this being said, I have to close this streaming because I have to start my next class with another group. Okay? Is it fine? So for now, bye, but I will be live streaming again in 10 minutes. So first of all, if you want to see again what we've seen right now, just wait 10 minutes so that I make a break and I start all over. And in my next class, because technically it's another group, I show same things: edit poly, extrude, and whatsoever. Okay? Bye for now.